Is your rental property roof over 15 years old? Then we need to talk. It could be affecting your sale or your lease. Let's get into this a little bit more. All right, so a couple of things we're going to talk about on this video. We're going to talk about inspection issues. We're going to talk about potential insurance red flags, which I'm not super qualified to talk about, but I'm going to at least drop what I know about that. We're going to talk about tenant comfort, leasing problems, and of course resale value, because that's the market that we're in. That's where we're at right now in this market. So this is important. Let's look at why this is important. The age of your roof, when you hit 15 years old, let's call it, generally around 20 years, you start seeing replacements needing to be done. And a lot of the properties that we're selling right now, or a lot of the properties that were built in the mid 2000s are now coming 21, 20 years, 25 years of age. And at these ages, when you've got different types of roofs here in the valley, which, you know, you've got the shingle roofs, right? Like the composition shingle, or like asphalt. You've also got the clay tile roofs, which we have a lot of. And those clay tile roofs were what was being built 20 years ago, all throughout the valley. Most of the new builders used clay tile. Underneath that clay tile has got an underlayment. Underlayment is like this impermeable layer. I guess it's somewhat breathable, but it's relatively impermeable that lasts from, call it 15 to, for some of these, they quote that they're gonna be able to last longer than 30 years. Now, if you had a house that was built 20 years ago, there's a very high probability that your roof either has already been replaced or it's needing to be replaced now. And why that's important is we've just come out of a monster season of no rain. This was some of the longest that we'd seen without rain in a very, very, very long time, meaning that a lot of these roofers, albeit the pricing, you know, for materials might be a little bit higher, whatever, they are hungrier for business than they've been in the past. This could benefit you, and hence one of the reasons why this video is being made right now. So as we look at how this would potentially affect your property, before we get into that, think about what this could lead to and what it takes to replace a roof. And a roof, let's be honest, is not a sexy fix. It's one of those things that, hey, you could dump, you know, 10, 20 grand into it, and at the end of the day, you still have a flipping roof on your house, right? You have to have a roof on your house. So, because again, if it doesn't have a roof, it's basically just four walls, right? So you have to have a roof. And if it's a newer roof or an older roof, there's gotta be a roof. So there's not a ton of value when it comes to resale for a house with a new roof versus a house that doesn't have a brand new roof. So it doesn't, it's not one of those sexy spends that you can spend on your property to get extra value out of it. It's not a new kitchen, it's not new countertops, it's not new flooring. It's something you just don't see, and that ultimately, I like to call them unsexy spends, because that's what it is. It just feels like money going out the door, and you're not really getting much return on it when it comes to an investment property. Okay, so let's get into why the age of the roof is critical. And again, the insurance piece, as these roofs are getting older, we might start seeing insurance companies not insuring properties with roofs of a certain age. Are we seeing that a lot in Arizona yet? Not really. At least here behind the scenes, we're not seeing that. But what we are seeing is these homes that have these tile roofs on them, if these tile roofs aren't inspected every 2-3 years, they're going to be cracked roof tiles. And in those cracked roof tiles, it sometimes lead to water intrusion in normal years. When the water gets under there, it gets a little bit moist. After that, it gets, dries out, and that dryness turns it brittle. That brittleness is what over time leads to the water leaks in the house. Every once in a while, somebody will have a water leak over here or a water leak over there. When you have that water leak over there, oh, there might be some tree debris up there gumming it all up. Something that you can specifically call out that shows, oh, this needs to be fixed right here. But after 20 years, that underlayment can be so brittle throughout that no roofer will get up there and say, I'll spot fix this right here. you're going to have to just replace the whole roof. And that's what comes down to spending these tens of thousands of dollars on a potential roof. How this affects you as a seller right now, when you're talking about selling your property, buyers in this market are they're not just looking for deals, but they're looking for houses that are complete and ready to go. And a house with any sort of roof issues is a humongous red flag. What we've seen is that buyers who are seeing roofs that are just older, not leaking at all, they're just older, are asking for replacement value on these roofs. They're asking for credits at the closing. And sometimes that's not permissible. If the buyer has particular financing where we're already giving them closing costs, there's really no simple way to give them a credit to replace this entire roof as well. And on top of it, it's not like we can go and disclose to the buyer's lender that this property needs a new roof, because at the end of the day, that could hamper the deal right there. That is, again, whether or not the roof even needs to be replaced. It can just be an opinion because of the age. So in this market, we're seeing a lot of buyers that are wavering because of it. When working with buyers, it's a negotiation tactic. It's a piece that says, hey, we know that this roof is old, and we know that in the next 5 years, more than likely it'll need to be fixed or replaced. So let's get a credit for the whole thing. And then, of course, on the rental side, when it comes to the lifespan of your property, how long are you keeping it as a rental? And if you're going to be keeping it for the next 10 years, are you going to have to replace that roof? If you are, now might be a good enough time to be thinking about it, legit, because these roofers are in the last round that we did with a property recently, where we had we had to get some bids on a particular roof. Buyer went out and got a bunch of bids on their own. We went back to one of our approved vendors. That approved vendor came back with a very, 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 the lowest bid of the 6 that had been provided. Not by much, but it still was the lowest bid. And at the end of the day, I mean, a very reputable company, but it's because they're hungrier. It's because they need the business right now, because we didn't get enough rain. So because of that, this might be a time to be thinking about it. If you've got the funds, if you've got the resources, you want to get a roof inspection done, that's the first step. We get out one of these roofers out there to do a roof inspection. Generally, we can, each of them will charge something different if they are charging something. And then at that point, we get a full breakdown on what are the things that are going to keep your roof alive for the next 5 years. Can they qualify that? Can they say, yes, they will? Or are they going to have to do a full replacement? If the property is 20 years or so, more than likely you're going to see a bid that shows that they're going to be replacing the whole thing. Because again, they're not going to put their stamp of approval or warranty work on a roof that is that old if they're just spot treating it, because they don't know where else there could be issues without doing a full inspection underneath those tiles. And that just costs too much and is not worth it. So realistically, I hope this is helpful. Roof stuff, it's one of those expenses that just sucks. I mean, let's be real. It's just one of those things that you know that you have to do it. You know that at some point that roof's going to need to be replaced. And before it starts, you want to catch it before it starts leaking, because you don't want to have the issues with water leaking inside, but it's balancing that out, right? When's it going to leak? When's it not? Again, I hope this video helps. I hope it gives you something to think about. If you'd like us to step in and help and answer any questions regarding this, or put you in touch with one of our roofers, we'd be more than happy to, or send a roofer out just to get some inspections done to see what might need to be done on your property or not. If you haven't had it done in a while, hit us up. Let's do this. Cool. Thank you so much.